for joining us today. I'm August Vinias, co-CEO of CPI. I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, partner, Ava Benesaki, co-CEO of CPI. Welcome, Ava.
Thank you, August. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have an exciting one today. Today, we are joined by the inspirational, motivational family man with the most beautiful family ever, might I add, Jorge Abreu.
As investors, we are constantly on the search to find the best markets to invest in. With the interstate migration currently happening in the US, Texas made the top of our list.
And time again, Texas continues to be on the top of the list for all real estate investing experts. With the job growth and the population growth that exists in this state and an economy bigger than the whole country of Canada,
wow, that's a big
purchasing asset in this state was a no-brainer. For the past year, we've been on the quest to find the right team to partner with in Texas, and it was obvious from early on that Elevate Commercial was our #1 draft pick. Okay. It wasn't very difficult to notice George, as he is a constant speaker on many apartment syndication and real estate investing platforms. And his expedited journey to success has truly amazed many in the field.
Absolutely, we noticed him right away. Today we will discuss George's journey from his start in real estate to becoming an apartment syndicator. There will be many golden nuggets to take away from this webinar, so we hope you enjoy.
Jorge Abreu joined CPI as a seasonal real estate mogul.
Sorry about that.
Seasoned real estate.
Seasonal means it doesn't sometimes.
In and out.
Seasonal.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
as a seasoned real estate mogul in his own right. As a leader in the Texas real estate market, Mr. Abreu has generated substantial returns on thousands of multifamily residential units over the years. George founded and still leads 2 of Texas' most successful real estate ventures, JNT Construction and Elevate Commercial Real Estate Group. By leading in both construction and acquisition, Abreu's real estate empire has a decisive advantage in the multifamily real estate market. Through his new role as CPI's regional asset manager, he brings the synergistic power of these companies to our team. So Mr. Abreu offers CPI years of experience in the Texas multifamily market, along with a highly advantageous position in that market today.
awesome.
Throughout the market's ups and downs, he has thrived, building 2 of Texas' most successful companies in construction and real estate. So today, he will apply hard-earned experience to leading CPI's Texas operations.
Absolutely. Welcome, George.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for that intro. That was awesome.
Well, you're awesome. Well, you're awesome.
If you'd like, please go ahead and start it out.
Okay,
if you like.
George, I'm going to start off. Why don't you tell us about your start in apartment syndication? Your group has obviously done extremely well. Please tell us how you started in apartment syndication.
Yeah, so I'll start with how I started in real estate investing in general. It was about 15 years ago. I knew I wanted to start my own company kind of when I was still going to college and getting my electrical engineering degree. At some point I knew I didn't want to be an engineer, but that I wanted to start a company, and I started looking into real estate investing, got some training, and then started doing some deals enough to where I felt comfortable leaving my engineering job at that time and starting real estate full time. I did quite a bit of single family wholesales, fix and flips, then kind of worked my way up to some smaller multifamily properties and to what I do now, which is I focus mainly on 100+ unit multifamily properties. Along the journey, I decided to start my own construction company as well, like you mentioned, and that was to be able to scale, and started with the single family fix and flips and then kind of grew into the multifamily now, and both my companies 100% focus on multifamily properties now.
Awesome, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful. And my background is also in the construction and development. That was my start into investment, so I totally understand it, and I see that being advantageous where you run a construction company alongside your investment company. So I definitely see the bonuses in that. So please, definitely. Maybe George, tell us about how did it come about? As far as, did the investment company come first, and then when you were hiring a general contractor to come and do works, and then you decided to start your general contracting, or kind of walk us through how did that all come about and which came first?
Absolutely. So, to answer your question, investments came first. So I started investing in single family first. Really took a liking to the fix and flips. And then we got burned a couple times by contractors as we began to scale and really try to do several properties at a time. In my electrical engineering, when I ended up graduating and getting a job in the engineering department of UPS, it was more of, they called it engineering, but it was more of being a general contractor. I worked on all of the warehouse additions. If there was any major construction, or if we needed to do the roof, I was the one in charge of putting it all together. So I learned something there, and then I also worked with my uncle that owned a construction company during college. So I felt like I had that background there, and turns out that it was a pretty good decision. It helped scale the investments, and then it's also become its own thing on its own as well.
Great. Yeah. So most apartment syndicators, even really large ones, they always leave the capex and the renovations to the property management firm. But in your case, it's done in house, and that's a huge bonus. I mean, that was something that we were looking for. So it's really awesome that you kind of have the two-pronged approach. Ava, if you'd like to.
That's what we love about George.
Yeah, please. If you like this one.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so George, we always hear about Texas since we were kids. If it's the Western movies, or recently with huge migration happening to Texas, what is it about this great state that people keep gravitating towards?
And if I could say a couple of quick points, it's also we see with Tesla moving there, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan is moving to Texas. So it seems like, people are gravitating to the state, and your business is there. You're one of the main reasons where we want to be in that state as well, and to invest. So tell us, what is it about the state as a whole that gets people to want to move in, that has those population growth and job growth, and also what was it about the state that kind of intrigued you to want to invest in Texas?
Yeah. So, I was actually born and raised in South Florida, in Miami. And after the market crash in 2008, South Florida got hit really hard. So we wanted to keep doing what we were doing, and it was kind of impossible there. So we looked around and we started looking at different cities and the economy in those cities. And we kind of gravitated towards Dallas. We came and visited the city, and it was nothing, kind of like what you said. We were thinking Texas, it was going to be a bunch of horses and cowboys, and we were surprised. It was, you had your city life, but at the same time, you could easily get away from that. And then we just started looking, the economy was so diverse. And like you said, there was constantly corporate companies coming, Toyota, Amazon, you name it. So, we moved and we started building our real estate investments in Texas. And it turned out to be a really good move. And I think others throughout the years have kind of noticed the same things we did. That was 12 years ago. The state in itself, it has a lot less regulations. It's very business friendly. It's taxes. It's good on taxes. So yeah, it's just compared to a California or a New York. It just makes sense. moving a business here or just the cost of living.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's part of being a visionary. So you saw something, you saw a potential, and you made the move, and it's paid huge. So definitely give your accolades that you well deserve on that. Also, our group, we basically we don't pick a city out of a hat. We follow the numbers. We follow the real estate fundamentals of the job growth, the population growth. And with the US being over 300 million people, and people are moving between states, US, I mean, New York and California are getting too expensive. The cost of living is high, and people are moving to states like Texas. I believe there's no state tax in Texas. Is that correct? Yeah.
Correct.
And then again, the economy is super large. So if you like to go to them.
This is my favorite question for George. We are inspired by your online presence as it has a strong focus on motivation. Can you please tell us what drives you?
In business and personal and all of
Yeah. You know, the reason I wake up every day and I give it my all is for my family, for my children, my wife. You know, I want to give them the best possible life that I can. I want to leave them with wealth. So I'm out to build something big and leave a legacy behind. And then I'm also driven with multifamily investing. I'm very passionate and driven by it just because if I would have known this years ago, I could have paid a lot less in taxes. I could have made a lot better returns than I did. And I just feel like it's very hidden. The fact that there's alternative investments versus what we're kind of brought up to think, which is that you've got to put it into a 401 or you've got to invest in stocks, mutual funds, etc. And that's not truth. I mean, when you look at the really successful individuals, they don't invest there. They have alternative investments. And not that multifamily real estate is the only one, but it's the one that I've had success with. It's the one that I've found that is pretty resistant to downturns in the market. So yeah, that's something else that drives me, is to educate people on the fact that it exists and that all the benefits that come with it.
No, that's awesome. No, great point. And again, like Ava mentioned earlier, we noticed you because you speak on many different platforms, and they're not paid speaking sessions. You're there to educate, to help others, to even people who want to start in your field. And we had a conversation today on the phone with an associate about, hey, you guys are teaching, there could be other people wanting to get involved in this same business. And we're totally happy with that. We want there to be competition, because from competition, there'll be the best service. It's the business 101.
Yes.
And the other great point that you mentioned is, that I wanted to kind of touch on is quickly here. Yeah, so other bonuses is helping others. It's also the fact that in the apartment syndication in particular is a win-win business, and the reason I say that is obviously we're all in it to earn a living and for us and our family, but it's also the fact that in this niche market that we're in, the apartment syndication realm, we buy a certain type of assets and we upgrade them. We actually create better living situation, better living communities for people, and better living, creating better quality of life. And what we noticed, there was an unfortunate event that happened in one of your in one of your buildings that you own, and there was a fire. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but we saw how hands-on you were. You were right away on site when it was happening. You were right away on site when there was there needed to be the fixes that were made. You guys were on it, and that's a great part where, since you have the background in construction, you're hands-on and you're helping the community to reconstruct and get their units back going. So tell us a little bit more about your experience that I'm sure in your journey there's been many situations where you've helped people in all these units that you own and operate.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the way you said it. It's a win-win for everyone. And the way we kind of look at it is in a sense, we have two two clients to serve when we're doing this. We have our residents first, and then we have our investors kind of at the same time. And the more we improve the life of our residents, the more we show that we care, the better that property is going to perform. Like, it's just one of those things. When your residents know that the ownership cares about them, they're going to stay there longer. When a resident stays in a property longer, you have less turnover. You have obviously your occupancy is up, so it brings the value of that property up. And at the same time, like you said, we're updating it, and we're strong believers of creating a community feel when we take over a property. We do a lot of community events. When a resident moves into a new unit, we've got a gift basket for them. We just like to do little different things that lets them know that, hey, we care. We see you. And like you mentioned, the fire. The first thing when something like that happens, the first thing on our mind is, okay, is everybody safe? Does everybody, there's no way that person can stay there tonight. Where are they staying? Where we had the Red Cross out on that fire, and they set them up with somewhere to stay for that night. Next day, we already had them into another unit. So if you take care of your residents, in the long run, it's just going to add value, and everybody's going to win in that situation. So that's kind of the way we see it. And I think you asked another question there towards the end, which is, more specific of things that we do. Veterans Day just passed the other day. We sent gift cards and thank you cards to every veteran that we have in our properties. They were very thankful, and we do, like I mentioned, events. I know for Easter, at one of our properties, we had one of our on-site guys dress up as a Easter bunny, and they went around and gave gifts to all the kids.
Awesome.
So we're always doing things like that at our properties, and I think that's what kind of sets us apart.
For sure. And it benefits, as you mentioned, we as apartment syndicators, we work with our investors. We also work for our residents, but it's kind of a reciprocal kind of system where the investors take the risk by investing in the projects, and to the residents get a better place to live, and the upgrades that happen and the value add. So it's definitely a win-win, just like we both said. So that's great. Now, one final question before we let you go here, George. If you had to pick an area, since you are a visionary and you've been pretty good with these, if you had to pick an area within Texas that you say it's probably would probably be the best performing area, and obviously you are our regional asset manager, and we're waiting for you to find us that like
diamond in the rough.
A diamond in the rough. So we await that.
It's coming. It's coming.
All investor partners are there as well. But tell us, where is your number one pick when it comes to that region, because you're boots on the ground and you're on the area having a look every day.
I'm not just gonna say this because I live here, but I do think DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, is the best market in Texas. With that said, it's also one of the hottest markets. So it takes more work to find a good deal, but we know what it takes to do that. And then there's other kind of sub markets around DFW as well, which makes it a little bit easier to find a good deal sometimes. And it's kind of knowing that the path of progress is heading in that direction, and we have so many people moving to Dallas every day. I can't even tell you the number anymore because it keeps changing of how many people it is. But you know, as that city grows, it's got to expand, right? So, you know, kind of getting into those markets where the expansion is going is another good thing as well.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
And that's where the data driven, that's where your background in engineering comes in handy. So we really look forward to it, and we really appreciate you taking the time with us tonight.
Thank you,
today, and going over everything. We really hope to also have you on again to do a past deal you've done. You guys your team has done a phenomenal job on the type of returns you've made and the decisions you've made on deals. So we really want to have you on again at some point to go over a deal you guys have recently done. I believe you're still involved in the deal currently, so it'd be great for our investors to see you walking through in action, walking through you guys fund a deal about the financing and the value add. So it'd be great to get you back on. And thank you.
And thank
so
you,
much.
George. We're about to make magic happen for everybody here.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
And eventually, George will be back on our webinar when we do find a deal.
George will be back all the time.
Exactly.
He'll be back all the time. All the time.
You guys got to fly me out to Canada next time, and then.
No problem.
Oh, George, we already have this planned. We already have where we're taking you for dinner. We already have where we're going to go, right?
As soon as the deal is there, we have to fly down to have a look at the deal. So we'll meet George again. So
you got to show us around first, and then we'll
exactly.
Awesome, George. You have a wonderful day today, and we really appreciate you.
Very
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.